In the beginning, there was nothing but an infinite darkness. The gods had no form, no name, and no purpose, except to seek each other and find their roles in this vast expanse of nothingness. At the heart of this void was the god Tezcatlipoca, the deity of night, mystery, and conflict. His presence was felt in every corner of the dark sky, swirling like the winds that carried only whispers of forgotten dreams. His eyes, mirrors of obsidian, reflected the chaos and shadows he embodied. Beside him stood his twin brother, Quetzalcoatl. Unlike Tezcatlipoca's shadowed nature, Quetzalcoatl was the god of life, light, and knowledge. His form was that of a serpent covered in emerald feathers, and his breath carried the winds that nurtured and nourished all that was good and pure. His presence was a soothing balm to the chaos, bringing the promise of creation. Quetzalcoatl looked at his brother, whose piercing gaze never wavered. "We must create," Quetzalcoatl said softly. "This darkness cannot be all there is." Tezcatlipoca laughed, a deep and rumbling sound that echoed through the void. "Why create?" he asked. "Why give birth to a world that will only crumble in time? Why not let the darkness reign forever?" "I see differently," Quetzalcoatl replied. "In darkness, there is no growth. There is no life. It is in the light that life begins." And so, the brothers, each holding to their vision, began to shape the world. Quetzalcoatl used his wisdom to weave the fabric of creation, crafting mountains, rivers, and the winds that would bring life to the barren world. Tezcatlipoca, on the other hand, sought to disrupt this process, creating storms, shadows, and chaos to undo his brother's work. The two gods fought endlessly, their powers clashing in bursts of light and shadow, shaping the world in a constant state of flux. As the struggle between creation and destruction continued, the gods began to form a plan to bring order to the world. The time had come to create humanity, a race of beings who would carry the essence of the gods within them. Quetzalcoatl, always the compassionate god, was the first to step forward. "I will give life to the first humans," he declared. "They will carry the gift of wisdom, and with it, they will nurture the world. I will teach them the ways of the stars, the moon, and the sun, that they may live in harmony with the earth." Tezcatlipoca, however, had other plans. He believed that humans, like the world itself, should be tested. He created trials to challenge their spirits, to test their hearts, and to expose their flaws. He gave them the ability to choose between light and darkness, between good and evil, knowing full well that many would falter. As the first humans emerged, Quetzalcoatl bestowed upon them knowledge, teaching them to understand the natural world. But the chaos of Tezcatlipoca's influence soon took its toll. The humans, torn between the wisdom of Quetzalcoatl and the temptations of Tezcatlipoca, began to falter. Some chose the path of light, while others succumbed to darkness. It was then that Quetzalcoatl, in an act of great sacrifice, offered himself to the earth. He took the form of a great serpent and slid it into the depths of the earth, where he would dwell forever, giving the world its cycles of life, death, and rebirth. In his absence, the world began to crumble once again. The balance between light and darkness had been broken. In the midst of this turmoil, a new god emerged. He was the son of the earth itself, born from the union of the sun and the moon. His name was Huitzilopochtli, the god of the sun and war. His fiery gaze burned through the darkness, and his strength was unmatched. He declared that the world would no longer be divided by the clash of light and shadow. Instead, it would be ruled by strength and sacrifice. Huitzilopochtli took on the role of the protector, leading the Aztecs to war against those who would threaten the world's balance. He gave them the courage to fight and the wisdom to honor their gods. His followers, known for their fierceness and devotion, worshipped him as the eternal warrior who would always rise, even after the darkest nights. Quetzalcoatl, watching from the heavens, saw the rise of Huitzilopochtli with both pride and sorrow. He knew that Huitzilopochtli's strength would guide the people, but he also understood the cost of such power. War and bloodshed would become the cornerstone of the Aztec civilization, and sacrifice would be demanded to appease the gods. While the Aztecs flourished under the guidance of Huitzilopochtli, the Mayans turned to the wisdom of Quetzalcoatl. In the jungles of Mesoamerica, the Mayan people built great cities, constructing temples and pyramids that reached for the heavens. They honored Quetzalcoatl, who had given them the gift of knowledge and enlightenment. But Tezcatlipoca, ever the disruptor, watched from the shadows, knowing that the balance of the universe would not remain stable for long. He whispered into the hearts of the Mayans, urging them to seek more power, more control over the heavens. And so, their civilization grew, but with it came a darkness, an insatiable hunger for knowledge that threatened to consume them. As the civilizations of the Aztecs and Mayans grew, so did the influence of the gods. The once clear lines between light and darkness, creation and destruction, began to blur. The gods themselves began to fear what their followers had become. The time had come for the gods to clash once again. Tezcatlipoca, determined to bring an end to the cycle of creation, summoned the other gods to war. Quetzalcoatl, along with Huitzilopochtli and other deities, prepared to defend the world from the chaos that Tezcatlipoca sought to bring. The gods fought across the heavens, their power rippling through the very fabric of the universe. Thunder cracked, stars fell, and the earth trembled beneath their feet. In the end, it was Quetzalcoatl who made the final sacrifice. He called upon the winds of the earth, the winds he had once controlled to give life to the world. He used these winds to scatter the forces of Tezcatlipoca and restore balance. But in doing so, Quetzalcoatl knew that he would once again have to withdraw from the world, leaving the humans to find their own way. The clash of the gods had reshaped the world. The Aztecs and Mayans continued to thrive, guided by the forces of light and shadow, war and wisdom. Their civilizations, though divided by their gods, carried the legacies of Quetzalcoatl, Tezcatlipoca, and Huitzilopochtli. Through sacrifice, strength, and wisdom, they built empires that would stand for centuries. And though the gods may have receded into the heavens, their influence never truly faded. The people still honored them, still fought for their favor, still remembered the clash that had created the world they inhabited.